Brad, help us understand these images. The liberal media will tell you that America has regretted its choice of Donald Trump, but that's not what these scenes suggest.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Trump's base of voters is still with him, and just some chaos or a couple things they don't agree with isn't going to change that. They trust him, they put their trust in him, and that hasn't fundamentally changed. You always wonder with something like this if you could find a better representative of everyday Trump voters than UFC attendees. Probably not. I mean, it's a pretty representative sample of the kind of people that flocked towards Trump. And I think the idea that people are regretting their vote in mass, I mean, there certainly are some, but that idea is largely a fiction of liberal media who really want that to be the case. But I'm not sure it's actually a particularly widespread sentiment.
No, that's fair enough. Now, look, comedian and host Bill Maher has admitted he was completely wrong about Trump and has gone as far as saying that he actually felt way more comfortable with Trump than he would have Clinton or Obama after he met the president at the White House. This is what he said.
He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy.
Brad, this is quite significant given the host has spent the past 8 years slamming Trump, but what do you make of this turnaround?
Well, I think it's a healthy sign in some ways that even a television host like Bill Maher, who I like, but who is a very liberal, old school liberal and has been very critical of Trump, would go and meet with him and would go and break bread with him and talk about things and get to know him as a person. I think we need more of that in America, because in the previous era of Trump's first term, he would have never done that because he would have been absolutely savaged by his peers in liberal media and on the Democratic side of the aisle. But I do think something culturally is changing, where people are reaching out more, having more conversations. Some people are getting nasty and cutting each other off, and there's that divisiveness. But at least some people on the left, like Bill Maher, are seeming genuinely curious about what happened? Why did my side lose so badly? Why did so many people go towards Trump? And I appreciate those kinds of good faith efforts. And frankly, more people should follow his lead on this kind of thing.
I'm not sure CNN will be following his lead anytime soon, Brad. Their supposed extremism expert, Donnie O'Sullivan, has offered up this explanation as to why extremism is an issue in America.
The issue very much so is on the right, on the far right, from Charlottesville to January 6th. There isn't exactly an equivalent on the left.
Brad, didn't President Trump face 2 assassination attempts?
Yeah, this is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Obviously, there is some far-right extremism in the U.S., but we're literally living through a time where people are firebombing Tesla dealerships, vandalizing cars in the streets of innocent people, widespread support for a man accused of murdering a healthcare CEO, and constant support. Even polling shows majorities, in some cases, of left-of-center Americans supporting the assassination of Trump or Elon Musk. So you're going to say there's no left-wing extremism? Really, CNN? It's an absurdity. It's a farce. And look, we've had other things too. It's not just the Trump assassination. There was a congressional baseball shooting where multiple Republican members were nearly assassinated. This shouldn't be something we're like, counting up as if it's some sort of competition. But if we're going to play that game, it's really hard to argue that the real threat is on the far right, at least in my view.
Indeed, it's the sort of argument you'd only hear on a channel like CNN. Brad Polumbo, thanks so much for helping us make sense of America.